All right, we are live. Welcome to SEO AI GEO AEO news for week 7 and 8. So I'm covering 2 weeks. I wasn't able to create the last week's video. Oh, there's a fly, got it. Yeah, I'm gonna try and speed run these 2 weeks because there's usually a lot. There's always new stuff going on. So let's just jump right into it. First up, we've got a tool to check if your pages are over or under the 2 MB crawl limit. So again, I love that these news come out and then we are really reactive. We're creating a tool. It's such a good content marketing scheme. So I love that. The SEO community is awesome. In Ahrefs, you can now see fan out queries, which is super interesting from different prompts. So they are really working on their AI tracking. Lily Ray covered this. We can see the fan out queries here. I'm pretty sure there might be more than two, but this is still pretty interesting. So they have access to some clickstream data, it seems. Yes, Cloudflare as well is you can now tell Cloudflare to serve a Markdown version of your website to LLMs or LLM bots, crawlers, etc., which is super interesting. Not really something you should test. Some people have seen a lot more LLM mentions, some have not. I think there might be risks. People from Google came out and kind of talked about the risks of this, but again, I would suggest testing it and then seeing. It's very interesting. So Cloudflare is on top of all this AI stuff. Really good stuff from Cloudflare. Next up, of course, there's an awesome tool here by again dgen.ai, just creating all these awesome tools. This one showcases how Google takes pieces of text, so showcases how much is actually being used to formalize a summary or AI overview. So really good, and I like the apart from your branding, this is all you have to influence the model. So really good, like what are we using to ground, etc. So kind of a nice tool, very interesting. A good article on if you should optimize your content differently for each platform. Again, going to skip through the details here. Pretty interesting, I would say. Also, MCP servers are coming to the web. Yes, there's a web MCP that wants to bring these MCP protocols to the web, and they want to kind of make it streamlined, like one place to kind of do this. I think it is, let's see here, who made this? It's an ecosystem. I can't remember. Anyway, MCPs and agents will become the next thing, and we might have to cater more to agents traveling or visiting your site as well as users. So there's all this new stuff coming in, and SEOs needs to be on top of that. That's why I'm sharing all these guides about MCP servers, agents. We have OpenClaw acquired by OpenAI as well. So all this stuff is good to follow if you're an SEO. Oh yes, Lily Ray shared that there's the overview with the brand radar in Ahrefs is really good when you can see the connection between SEO performance and AI citation performance. So just a little tip from Lily as well. She really likes Ahrefs. SEO news again here. There's now a UCP powered checkout for the first time in Google's AI mode shopping results. Let's show you guys that, people watching this video. And we can see here, so that we talked about it a week or two before, like Google, you can now purchase directly in Google. And if you want to have that ability, you need to set up the protocol for this type of thing. So you can always visit, I think it's Google's UCP, Google, and then documentation, something like that. Boom, Universal Commerce Protocol Guide. There you go. So you can set that up for your website. I'd advise it maybe, depending on your niche and industry. Hidden HTTP pages can cause site name problems in Google. This one was interesting. So if you have that hidden HTTP, like Chrome will automatically go to the HTTPS version, the secure one. But if it's not redirecting, right, then Googlebot can still crawl and use the HTTP version. So just a good reminder. Also, recently, a lot of people are testing all these repeat runs of several prompts in OpenAI or ChatGPT, and just showcasing the inconsistency of running the same prompt and getting so inconsistent results. Not saying the SERPs are very consistent, but this is extremely inconsistent. Niche advantage, I like that. There was 21% of brands in niche categories that reached dominant status versus 7% in competitive categories. And then just the measurement implications, right? So if you want precision, you got to run a lot of prompts and then look at the average. And I guess that makes a lot of sense. So I guess that's kind of the takeaway from these. This was super interesting. Moltbook, I wasn't aware of this, but they actually created this kind of kind of social media and then just made a bunch of agents and kind of told them to interact with each other. this person here talking about how there was a post that went viral, and that was really, and people shared it and used the example of, oh my God, agents can just run social media and interact with each other. But the problem is that specific article that went viral was written by a human. And so I'm not going to go too much into detail to this, but I like the idea that even though we created this many agents interacting on this fake social media, the thing that stood out and that made the news was written by a human. So taking the human out of the equation is still not. We're not there. Again, they just replicate each other, right? Like this is the tool is good, but it's a tool, and it's a tool that can do specific things. We need to not forget that. All right. So new SEO research, of course, the study found that Google sends 190% or 190 times more traffic than ChatGPT. So that's good. Again, going into all this, I kind of just share these new studies all the time because it helps like prioritize, right? ChatGPT estimated to get 1.6 billion searching prompts per day, while Google is 13.7. So it's kind of digging into search, but I don't think that is search. A lot of those prompts, and I covered a recent study maybe a few months ago, and it was like 1 or 2/3 of prompts were not related to search. They were more like, do this task, summarize this email. So we have to remember that a lot of this is not search. Pretty interesting here. John Moo from Google still recommends visible anchor text for your links to help search engines understand context. So, the basics still work, and that's great. Let's not forget the basics. All right. Google AI shows a site is offline due to the JS content delivery. So, having a little banner that's saying, let's see if I can find that. What was it? Placeholder text delivered in base HTML saying not available was indexed by Google. And it may not run the JS that replaces it. So that's kind of a good tip as well, I would say. Very, very specific tip here. We have a list of articles for GEO SEO Playbook for 2026. Easy peasy. There's another, this is from Aleda Solis, talking about how it's not just AI eating up your clicks and traffic, it's also ad placement. So very interesting. Again, not going into detail, but if you're talking to C-level people, you have to defend why we're losing clicks. I think this is a good place to start because yes, we're losing to AI, but we're also losing to ad placements, and people losing those clicks go back and are more aggressive with their ads. It's very interesting. So a good take from Aleda. Also, a nice take on how being able to scale SEO very cheaply now means that the very good SEO is actually becoming more rare and expensive. So kind of an interesting take. I like it. Have a read. Also, old image link building technique from the early days of SEO. I like this one. Read it. I'm going to go into detail. This is a great little link building technique. I should share more of those, but people don't really share that much of it. GEO is the new thing. What do we got here? Oh, yeah. So Google's seems to be, since Google's last algorithm, it seems like it's found a few of those like spammy subfolders and listicles where people were just mentioning their own brand. So Google seems to be doing something about that. And if we go to the last week's news, we can actually see, actually, let me just switch this up here. So, well, it's just the antitrust, that's hard to say. There we are. Let's start with that one. Filing says Google cannibalizes publisher traffic. Yes. So they're basically the fundamental of fair exchange. So we allow you crawling, we get clicks in return. It seems like Google might have to be forced into, producing less zero-click searches and just giving us the answer based on our concept. Thank you. Use AI to organize the SERPs in a better way and give us more context so we can click further. That's what I would like to see. That AI is good at that anyway. Don't just give us the answer. Also, a really cool guide here from Chris Long at Negative, I think. Just a quick little regex rule where we can find Search Console queries that are longer than 10, so we can start looking into prompts. So kind of an interesting one. So if you want to see like these long questions or prompts, you might uncover UX issues or something like that. And here is a full guide on the Cloudflare's new Markdown for AI bots. So this one is like, I guess, all you need to know about the Markdown. So again, Cloudflare can serve Markdown versions of your page to LLMs. Very interesting. there is some search volatility, even though we've had our December core update. It's been reported in January and February. So yeah, and it's been very heated apparently. What stood out for me is early evidence and expert commentary point to Google cracking down on self-serving listicles and possibly changes related to its reviews, products, review system. So, all right, good to know. Also, a quick update on Reddit's AI translation project. If you all remember, Google was like, we don't want you to mass scale translation with AI. And then Reddit did it, and they're ranking very well. Again, Reddit has very unique content, so if you just translate it with AI, it's still unique in another country, so it might be worth ranking for. So if you want to scale your content and translate it, if it's good content, I think it's worth doing. If you also make sure it's localized, etc., I think it's not a bad thing, and Google doesn't seem to hate it. So, it's something I would test slowly and not just do this on 7 markets at once, but slowly roll it out, I would say, if you want to try this. Google is also rolling out a new UI, user interface, for citation links. Let's show you guys this, everyone watching this video. That is nice. So not something I covered, but I've seen on Twitter there was a bug where Google just stopped linking at all. Like no citations, and like Lily Ray and a few others complained, and I think somebody from the team Google said, "Oh, this is a bug. This is not normal." So they came in, they fixed it, and now we've got this new UI, which I really like because we're actually seeing, for example, Brody Clark Consulting directly in the text. So a little bit more branding and worth clicking on. Like this might give us a few more clicks, but again, I would still like to see more. Again, this is just like a summary of all the good content. This is what I hate, is that many of these guides are really good, and then AI just kind of makes it into this lame, superficial answer. And if you do that, I would still like to see a lot better branding, like Brody Clark says, based on this guide and stuff, like really make me want to go and click on this guide. But again, this is better than having no citations. So there we go. Here's a cool tool guide on what models to use for what. So again, like writing, Claude seems to be the best. Research, we've got Perplexity, coding, Cursor, etc., etc. So I think this is kind of a cool little guide here in different tools for SEO at least. And then there's a paper here confirming something that's interesting. Duplicating your prompt seems to drive better results. And I mean, sometimes if you are giving it a lot of context and then a task, it might have absorbed the context, or you do a task and then context, then repeat the task. Like, again, read into this. I use a lot of LLMs for different tasks, and the way I structure my prompts, I always try to share tips on how to structure prompts, and this one seemed pretty interesting. So we can see here, let's see here. It's a simple structural hack. I like that. Yeah. Repeating the prompt helps counter the limitation, and it gives a second pass over the full context. So again, task, context, task. Seems very interesting. ChatGPT has been sending referral traffic to UTM, specifically made for Google Ads. So showcase that. That is not good. Let's see here. So this is just another proof that it's scraping Google, and not only is it scraping Google, it's taking ads or ads URLs and throwing them in here, which is just terrible. Oh, there we go. I lost my, there we are. Control Shift T, by the way, brings up the last windows you closed. That's a tip for y'all. I actually use that a lot. I keep regretting. I keep regretting that what I've closed. Let's see, where were we? Gonna try and speed run the rest here. Well, we only have 3 left. Oh yeah. So important points about the similarity between LLM rankings, retrieval, and classic search rankings. So this is a video. So I'm not, apparently I've started watching it. This seems very interesting. I like the idea of how are we going to go from all these tokens down to a certain limit. Like how is search working the same when you look at LLMs? And I thought this was quite an interesting read, and I'm going to look at the rest of this video. So have a look at that. Structured data is also not dead. No, it's not. And you know what? WordLift has been proving it. Look at the A/B test that was delivered. We had more clicks on events and articles. So seems like it's working. I mean, again, let's look at the limitations of the study, but overall, I would still recommend structured data. It helps AIs ground your results. So if you have a price, an event name, anything, the AI will use structured data. There's been proof that it does, at least to a certain extent, help it ground your results or price. Google also prefers it. LLMs just understand it better, etc. So there's no reason not to. Finally, last up, thanks for keeping watching. Let's see how many drop off. This is the volatility again. Let's see if I can share this in a better directly on X. I keep saying Twitter. There's been a ton of volatility in January and February, so again, people are still talking about this. I think it's not about rolling out more core updates, but he's showcasing 4 sites heavily impacted, and we can see how they relate to the core update. So I think this is an interesting take. I didn't have more details, so just read through it, especially if you've been victim of this volatility. Now you know where to go find some information. All right, that was a lot. Thanks for watching, liking, subscribing if you did. If not, do it. Do it right now, because yeah, hopefully this was useful for you. And I'll see all of you next week when I do another video. So enjoy your day.